In the dusty silence of a small village in Burkina Faso, far from any map that mattered to the West, lived a couple whose names were never known to the world, but whose legacy would one day make global headlines. They didn't hold degrees, they didn't seek wealth, and they never once stepped foot in a government office. But they raised a lion, not with weapons or ideology, but with silence, with discipline, with pain, and with pride. Ibrahim Traoré wasn't born with a crown. He was born during the rainy season in a modest hut with a leaky roof as thunder cracked above the clay soil. His mother, thin, fierce, and dignified, wrapped him in the same cloth her mother had used generations before. His father, a farmer with calloused hands and the eyes of a thinker, held him not like a baby but like a promise. They didn't celebrate. They whispered prayers. They didn't send word to the towns. They planted a tree. From the age of 4, Ibrahim was never told stories of fairy tales or faraway lands. He was told about Sankara, about Lumumba, about the day his grandfather died with no doctor within 100 kilometers. His mother taught him that silence is sometimes louder than shouting, that real power grows slowly like millet in dry earth, and that when you are right, you do not need to raise your voice, the truth will rise with you. When Ibrahim was 6, a local soldier came to the village and told him to salute. Ibrahim refused. "I salute only those who protect," he said. The soldier laughed. His father didn't. That night, Ibrahim was punished not for disobeying, but for speaking too soon. His father taught him that a lion does not roar until it's ready to strike. As he grew, Ibrahim watched injustice with quiet eyes. He never reacted quickly. He wrote, he listened. He observed men in uniforms who spoke of freedom while taking bribes. He heard foreign aid workers preach development while dining on imported cheese. And at night, his mother would boil the same sorghum soup she had made since he was a baby, always saying, "I don't cook for the body. I cook so your mind stays sharp." By the time Ibrahim left the village for military school, no one in his village cried. They stood still, silent, hands to their hearts. They knew they were not sending a boy. They were releasing a lion. And years later, when the world watched Ibrahim Traoré stand before cameras, declaring the end of neo-colonialism and the rebirth of African dignity, they asked, where did he come from? But his village already knew. They had seen it coming. They had fed it, clothed it, prayed for it. No one taught him diplomacy. His mother taught him silence. No one taught him warfare. His father taught him patience. And when he finally roared, the world listened not because he had power, but because he had purpose. They raised him in silence. But his roar was always destined to echo across the continent. The day Ibrahim Traoré returned to his childhood home. Years had passed. His name was now spoken in the corridors of power, from Ouagadougou to Moscow, from Paris to Pretoria. Journalists debated his strategy, military experts dissected his movements, and the West held emergency meetings every time he spoke. But in the village where his story began, time moved slower. The old water well still creaked. The wind still carried dust. And the mango tree planted the day he was born had grown tall, its branches like arms reaching out to the sky. When news spread that Ibrahim Traoré was returning home, there were no banners, no drums, only silence and waiting. He arrived without guards, without fanfare. A single dusty car. No motorcade, no speeches. Just a son stepping onto the soil that had once shaped his feet. The village elder, now nearly blind, rose slowly from his mat. "So you have returned," he said. "Not as a soldier, not as a leader, as a son." Traoré knelt and kissed the earth. "I never left," he whispered. He walked the same path he had walked barefoot as a child, past the schoolhouse with its faded walls, past the corner where he once watched a goat give birth, past the home where his mother once sat every morning, grinding maize with her bare hands. She was not there now. She had passed 3 years earlier. But her chair remained. He sat in it. The villagers gathered, quiet, not wanting to speak until he did. Finally, a child approached. A boy no older than Traoré had once been, his eyes wide and unsure. "Is it true," the boy asked, "that you made France leave?" Traoré looked at him, then at the crowd, and finally at the sky. "I didn't make them leave," he said. I reminded them they were never invited. An old woman placed a bowl of sorghum soup in his hands, the same his mother once made. Traoré took a spoonful and smiled. "It still tastes like home," he said. That night, he refused the house prepared for him. He slept under the stars beside the old mango tree. His aides protested, but he waved them off. My mother once told me, "The stars above a free man shine brighter than any chandelier in the palace." Before dawn, he rose, placed a stone beside the tree, and carved one word into it: origin. He left without ceremony, without cameras. But everyone who saw him that day would never forget. Not because he was a president, but because he proved something very few leaders ever do: that the most powerful man in Africa never forgot the woman who boiled him soup or the tree that knew his name before the world did. And as the sun rose behind the hills of his childhood, casting golden light on the dusty paths and rooftops of the village, one elder whispered the words that would echo far beyond that morning. He was not born a leader. He was raised to become one. Ibrahim Traoré didn't need marble statues or parades. The monument to his legacy stood in the eyes of every child who now believed that a barefoot boy from a forgotten corner of Africa could one day stand before presidents, command armies, and still come home with humility in his heart. And from that day on, the world no longer asked where Traoré came from. They asked, how did a family, so humble and quiet, give the world a lion that roared without raising his voice? The answer was simple. They raised him not to conquer, but to belong.